And happy December 24th, 2022, 9 a.m. Central Time. I want to thank you all for being here with me. If you need to reach out, williehowe.com, reach out, and we'll see what's going on. So, whatever you celebrate, if you're in the middle of whatever celebration, happy holidays. And I celebrate Christmas. My family celebrates Christmas, so today is Christmas Eve for us. And we will celebrate Christmas tomorrow. So whatever you're celebrating, happy whatever that is. And and it is cold outside. So I've been outside. I'll show you what I was doing, but it messed my beard all up. The wind and the cold. I got all kinds of strays going on now. But let's look at the comments. Doug, good morning. Good morning, Jeremy, Dave, Jacob, JH, Bob, Gina, Rodney, Gibby, good morning, everyone. We're going to talk about a couple things today. So next year, besides doing the consulting, we're getting into more and more. I'm going to start bidding on more on-site Wi-Fi plan development. So that is coming next year. We're also going to really concentrate on our education component, and so you're going to see a lot of stuff about that. We're going to fire up a membership portal on the website where you're going to be able to buy deep dive videos, and we're going to have the written documentation to go along with it. So you're going to be able to buy those in little bite-sized chunks. We've been talking about a monthly membership, but we don't know about that yet, but you'll know as soon as we know. I'm going to work with Grandstream to try to get my Grandstream certified trainer for their networking gear now that their switches are out. They've got new routers coming next year. So 2023, we are going to really expand the education component. We're still doing the consulting. We're still doing deployments. But yeah, we're really going to, and JH, yes, we are going to concentrate on a lot of on-site stuff next year. So back over to the comments. Let's see. Hey, Justin from Indiana is in the house. Everybody go check out Packets Downrange. That's Justin Wilson. That's his blog. Give him a shout out. He's an ISP veteran. He is a partner in Midwest Internet Exchange. Go check it out. Hey, Bob Carpenter, can you put a link to Justin's blog and a Midwest Internet Exchange in the chat, please? Gibby, I hope no one gets a service outage. I hear you. Albert E. says, how cold is it there? Well, let me fire up the old Weather Underground app and find out. I like Weather Underground because it pulls from the local stations. So it's firing it up. JH says, you're going to start the podcast next year? Absolutely. And in fact, this week between Christmas and New Year's and into slightly the new year, I am filming a bunch of content. So right now, the temperature here is 4 with a feels like negative 18. And let me show you what I got going on here. So we are hosting some family for Christmas Eve. And if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I like smoked foods. And so what I've got going on outside right now is that we've got a ham in the smoker, and I have a RecTech. And because RecTech is awesome, I can monitor the smoker right here from my phone. It connects to the Wi-Fi. So I've got a set point of 265, but that thing is out there in that wind. So it's 217. I want it to stay at 225. So I just moved the set point up to 285. And when you do that, what it'll do is the auger, these have an intelligent controller in them. And it'll start moving that auger, and it'll start dumping more pellets into the burn chamber. And so once I can get that up to 225 and I can keep it there, whatever set point that's going to take in this wind. I mean, the vents on it, I've got wind blowing in. I might have to go out and move it after the live stream, but we'll see. That I'm going to go through pellets of Helen, which is probably what'll happen. So I'm going to keep an eye on it here because I don't want it to get too hot because, you know, the ham's pre-cooked. So we're just warming it, 20 minutes a pound. So we will definitely see what happens. And if this thing like bottoms out for some reason, I'm going to have to get the old roasting pan out and take a look at that. But we'll see what happens. I'm going to keep an eye on it. And I'm going to bump that up just a little bit more and see what happens. We'll keep an eye on it. Okay, what else is happening? Let's go back over to the comments real quick. Morning, Blaine. JH says, speaking of education, how do you feel about the Unify certs training classes? So I have my UEWA, which is that Unify Enterprise Wireless Administrator. I also have my CWNA. If you don't follow me on Twitter, I passed the CWNA about 3 weeks ago. So I am going to start getting more into the wireless side. I've already got a ton of tools that I use, and I'm going to put together a kit. It'll be a video on that. So, but as far as the Ubiquity stuff goes, if you're going to take your UEWA, you need to have a really good grasp on networking, because it is not a beginner's class. They expect you to know quite a bit of stuff about networking already. And I will tell you, I haven't run into anybody where it was, it was mandatory, for us to have that certification. So, and it's not bad. It teaches you a lot of good wireless basics. So, but yes, the podcast is coming too. James and I are talking about the format of that. So, oh, hey, Sean Woods is in the house. Willie, how do you like that new Grandstream portal? Yeah, Grandstream is really ratcheting up their presence and their appearance. They are going to take a lot of these vendors head on next year. So their layer 2 switches just officially hit warehouses this week and have started shipping to customers. But next year they've got layer 3, like full-blown layer 3 switches coming. They've got higher-end routers coming. So they are going to they're smelling blood in the water, and they're smart because they're going out and they're watching these other vendors and figuring out what they're like. Some of these vendors have started paying attention to what the consumers are want. But Grandstream is like watching, like, I think all the forums, all the videos, all these things. So it'll be interesting to see. And I don't know if you've noticed, but their support portal or their documentation portal has gotten much better. Not only do they now provide the PDF, but they have the like the PDF is actually like in like it's not like a wiki, but it's like a website format, right? So that was one thing I talked to them about. They reached out to me and they're like, hey, how can we provide better support, better documentation? And I said, well, besides the PDFs, let's make a searchable website. So they are working on getting all of that going. And it's great so far if you haven't run into it. Morning, Cody. Let's see. Back over to the comments. Good morning, Julio, David, Gordon. I have the Stampede, Gordon. That is the model that I have. So, and I'll tell you, once you get into pellet smokers, you really go down a rabbit hole, right? I could have got a stick burner and I could have been a pit master. I'm really not interested in that. I'm interested in the smoky flavor of the food and being able to basically use this as an outdoor oven, right? If you've watched all my social media and all that over the last, what's it been, 5 years since I've had this thing, 4 years. I forgot what I was going to say. I've got the Stampede. Yeah, it's the Stampede. It's a Rectech. Rectech, in my opinion, has the best controller. I've got buddies that have Traegers. They've traded in their Traegers. If somebody can figure out which path we were going down. Dale Vout, good morning, sir. And good morning to you, sir. Any good holiday bourbon recommendations? So Midwinter Nights Dram is always a great pour this time of year. It's blended rye. That is our anniversary drink, and we didn't get to do that on our anniversary, so we'll do that this evening while I'm wrapping my wife's Christmas presents. But last night, I broke out the Old Forester 1910 and the 1920. My wife did a blind tasting. I was able to pick out the 1920. It's a higher proof, 115 proof. versus the 1910, which is a 93 proof, but is also then aged in a toasted barrel. So both of those. And then if you mix the 1910 and the 1920, you get what they call the 1915. And I had one of those too. So it was good. Let's see here. All right, so Bob has posted Justin's link. Let's see, Charlie, I started using a good free server, Uptime Kuma. Yeah, that is a great piece of software. I think I'm going to deploy that here. Julio says, hello, Willie. I have an Edge Router 4P and need to pass on public IPs to some users. I have seen ways to do it. So typically how we do it, and this is actually a service that we provide, Julio, but we typically load that onto a VLAN and pass the VLAN through. Anything else? I can't give away all the secrets, right? Ramroad, good morning. Dennis Pillow. Hey, Dennis, did you get a chance to, Merry Christmas, brother. Did you get a chance to check out the live stream link that I sent you of our weather? Good morning, Joe Trelli, a.k.a. Tech for Fun. Good morning, Joe. All right, let's see. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, Tony. North Carolina, 22 degrees Fahrenheit or 22 degrees freedom units. Not used to that over there, I don't think, huh, Tony? Gibby says, Streakwave just shipped mine yesterday. Yeah, I was talking, so I know the CTO over at Streakwave, and I had messaged him and asked him when they were going to hit the warehouse. And he said this week, and then we all got the email. So we were all like 3 or 4 people, Tony and a couple other folks. Justin, I don't know if Justin's watching. Other Justin, not Justin Wilson, but sent me the screenshots of the emails, and James and Tim. We were all waiting for that. Let's see. JH says, I think I'm going to try Grandstream when I replace the APs I have at my house. You definitely should. Sean says, I went through their new controller the other day and sent them a ton of feedback based on the shortcomings of where they are now and some of those issues with the other companies. So what's really cool, and we'll see how tight the integration between their APs, and if my Grandstream handlers are listening, you might want to be jotting this down. But we'll see how tight the integration between their APs and their routers are, because the one thing that really super excites me about Ingenious, and I've got to get this other switch video out, and then they're supposed to be hopefully sending me their new gateway for review. But their APs, all of their APs, they're building in features that you usually see in like an Aruba or a Ruckus or a higher end access point, where you can take this AP, configure it to be, part of the company, basically take it off site. It will create a tunnel, and it doesn't even matter if you're behind CGNAT or double NAT, because it uses the Ingenious cloud, just like Ubiquity uses the Ubiquity cloud, but it uses it as that bridge, and then it creates that VPN, and it is literally an extension of the office at home. And usually we had to pay big bucks to get those features. Ingenious has it, and as soon as I get my hands on the controller, that's the first video, or on the gateway, that is the first thing that I'm going to do a video on. Let's see, man, you all are awesome, awesome, awesome. I can't even keep up with the comments this morning, and I've got a couple pages loaded of stuff we're going to look at. Let's see. Tony says, my GWN 7801P is on the way from Streakwave as well. Tony, are you going to mount that? Are you just going to put the rubber feet on it and put it on your desktop, or are you going to mount that bad boy on a wall? Cliff says, I have a Grandstream 7664 I think may be defective. It performs far worse than my Unify 6 mesh. Yeah, you might want to make sure, Cliff, that you are on the latest firmware, and that you factory reset it, and make sure you manually tune those settings. And just so you know, if you have a bunch of different manufacturers' APs together, the back ends of those APs can't talk together. So you just created a war zone, basically, for Wi-Fi. So don't do that. Yes, Merry Christmas, Joe. Merry Christmas, Joe. Iron Fist, good morning. And Dave is right. I think you will like the Grandstream APs, and we deploy those with voice. That's where we're at. Yeah, and Grandstream, once you get to the right people, they are super awesome at getting the feedback going. Yeah, Cody, we are going to concentrate on more on-site stuff next year, and training component is going to be huge for us. So we're going to do Unify training. We're going to do Synology training. I'm trying to get Synology to let me be the official, basically create the official courseware for them and do official certifications. NetTool, I've already got that deal. That is happening early next year. I wish I had something that I could show you, but if you use NetTool, if you don't use NetTool, you're going to want, you can't even believe the changes coming to NetTool. I'm under NDA. He told me I couldn't say a lot, but as soon as he sends me over the graphic and I can start dripping some things, okay, here's one thing. Bluetooth connectivity, USB-C. I've got to leave it right there for now. Let's see. JH has a full stack SDN setup is nice for simple stuff. Yeah, and that's why I'm waiting on my switches, because Grandstream has everything except for a NAS at this point. And I don't want them to create a NAS. I want them to go ahead and partner with like Synology and OEM it, right? Dave says, my Grandstream switches should be here Tuesday. They shipped Thursday. That's awesome. I'm glad you all are getting them. Mine are not on the way. I'm waiting for, of course, it's the holidays. I'm waiting for my handler to reach back out. Bob says, does anyone's auto actually work for Wi-Fi network settings? It depends, Bob, how many APs you have. I mean, it's just a best guess of the software. If I had to say, probably the closest, so Mist or Juniper, they have their AI assistant that's in the cloud, and so it was pretty close the last time I did a tour of it. But I still like to manually. I'm still of that mindset of manually selecting power output and frequencies based on the environment, and then we can train whoever is manufacturing it to re-look at the data and make changes if you have to. Charlie says, have you used Cloudflare Tunnel to tunnel traffic from your local net to the internet? Works good. Charlie, I have not. I did see that Network Chuck did a video on that. But I haven't done it yet. I am going to do a reverse proxy here in my office to open up and expose a lot of things. If it becomes problematic, I may look at doing some sort of a tunnel between like an AWS instance or a droplet, and bring everything in that way. But I have not done the Cloudflare stuff. Let's see. Am I on Fiverr? Joe, send me $5 and I'll give you ASMR all day. You crack me up, Joe. I owe you a steak dinner and I am not going to forget that. Yep, and there's JH right there. Bob Carpenter, depending on how much you pay, yes, auto works on the expensive stuff. And Tony says his Grandstream switch sitting on the desk for now in the lab while I get some videos out. Then I'll figure out what permanent use case will be. So that is another thing, is my office. I am not in love with the wall really anymore, and the room is longer than it is wide. So I'm changing. Either there's a closet right here where I've got a bunch of stuff, and either the closet's going to be behind me so I can put stuff on the shelf and you can see stuff, or there's going to be a window. I'm not a fan of the window behind me either, really. So I'm trying to really figure this out now. If the closet is to my back with a light in the closet, then the server room is on the other side, so the cable run becomes much more easier. I've got, burglar alarm, motion detector stuff hanging up in the corner. But I don't think that'll really, I don't know, it could get messed with, because I put the office together and then I put the security system in. So I'll probably have to reevaluate that. But I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 shelves I've got to figure out what to do with. I got tons of cardboard boxes that I've got to deal with. So I'm going to actually start that tonight. So we'll see what happens. I think he's going to try out for The Voice. I'll sing you a song. You know, Justin says, with YouTube getting Sunday Ticket, there will be a ton of bars needing Wi-Fi network upgrades. Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely sure. And most people are going out and they're buying new iPhones. And, it'll be definitely interesting to see if those places start opting for Wi-Fi 6 sooner than they normally would have. Let's see. Okay. Good morning, Alonzo. All right. So let's hop over. If you've all been watching some other YouTubers, you are going to notice that they've been talking about the LastPass breach, and it is not good. Go out and watch Tom Lawrence's breakdown of this. He did a really good job. And here's what I want to say. So as much as LastPass is up front by for a lot of things, like if I scroll down, all the way down, they do tell us that the monthly pricing is billed annually, right? So you're paying a year at a time. But on their web page, on their main page, with people going to LastPass, it's crickets. It's absolute crickets. So I was thought, okay, all right. So you have to go to their blog or do a Google search. So, and it says what's trending here. So under what's trending, I would think, I don't know if this is considered, what's trending or what. But here, this was updated December 22nd. Go read it. It's not good. I don't use LastPass. I never have. And I probably won't at this point. I'll probably use either the Synology service or Bitwarden or 1Password. So, but yeah, check it out. Check out Tom's video. He did a really great job breaking that down. And the problem is that people, even though we tell people not to reuse passwords, people still reuse passwords. And so, I'm sorry, I'm messing with my grill. It got up to 300 in that wind finally. And so now I'm dropping the set point back to 245 to make sure that I can, I don't want the ham to dry out, right? I need it to get done, but I don't want it to dry out. But yeah, go check it out. It's definitely interesting. So, and I'm always a fan of things that you can host, things that are open source that we can either get a code review on or we can inspect the code ourselves. Some people think that you have to spend money on software and big money to get a good product, and that is absolutely not true. That is the same mindset as no one ever got fired for buying Cisco. And you have to get people out of that mindset because Cisco, yeah, they've got good stuff, but are they the leader anymore? I guess it's what you look at. I don't know. I don't know, but I will tell you that if I have my choice, I'm not spending money on Cisco. If I'm looking in that, for vendors that have that high-end equipment, it's going to be Juniper, it's going to be Arista, Extreme. Excuse me, I'm probably not looking at Cisco anymore. So we'll see. I just once bitten, twice shy, right? So, here is the other thing that we are going to look at. I'm going to zoom in on this bad boy. Let's go to the comments real quick before we look at this. Brian says, Merry Christmas, Brian. And 1Password user here. Yep, 1Password. Bob says, I can't believe they only obscure the URLs. I don't use it, but I'll certainly stop recommending it to those who ask. Yeah. If you remember Angry Cloud, which I should bring back Angry Cloud, right? But if you remember Angry Cloud, the first time LastPass had a security incident, I had a little cartoon of angry clouds striking down LastPass, and people said I was overreacting, and some of the other content creators are like, that's overreacting. They defended LastPass. I have never, you can go back and look, I've never defended LastPass. I've never defended any web-based system where to say that they're perfect, because you are totally not in control of that stack, right? So how can you 100%? You know, that's just like, you know, payroll systems that are in the cloud now. I mean, you can vet their security and can say their security is good, but when they have a data breach, and, you know, especially if you're in the public sector, you're going to be standing in front of a board, you know, and they're going to say, you know, who thought this was a good idea? Who vetted it? You know what I mean? So you better be prepared to answer those questions. All right. So real quick, Gordon says Bitwarden is what I switched to. Yeah. And I should do some videos on that. JH says, I'm not a fan of cloud-based stuff like that. I normally deploy a small Synology per site for stuff like passwords, simple email, and backup files. I'm right there with you, JH. And Tony's right there with us. Yep. JH says, I stopped buying Cisco a while ago. Brian says, Juniper are tough as edge switches. There's a lot of WISPs that use Juniper gear. Scott says, Bitwarden has a good LastPass export tool to incorporate. Wait a minute. So Scott, please expand on that, Scott. And I think, don't be upset if I butcher your name. Bab? Or Bab, I think is how you pronounce your last name. But Scott Bab, please expand on that. So are you saying that LastPass or Bitwarden has a tool to let you import your LastPass data? JH says, I like QFX in a data center for sure. I just can't spend Juniper money for access. Yeah, access level switches are a little bit different. And I think based on what I'm seeing for features on the Grandstream, I think Grandstream is going to fit in a lot of access scenarios. Bob says, Angry Cloud for the win. And Bob says, how do you back up that Synology then if it's stolen or destroyed? So first of all, you should be encrypting your volumes if you're keeping stuff like that on it. And then you can back up to Synology C2 Cloud. You can replicate over to another Synology, which is my favorite way to do it, because then you are, besides the physical location, almost wholly in control of that stack. Yeah, and JH says, I have about 75 data centers that I can bounce the backups around. And yeah, JH, I can't say a whole lot because he is giving me, but JH definitely out of between Justin and JH, they both have the infrastructure to be able to do those kinds of things. And if you're looking for co-location, you could hit up Justin Wilson or you could hit up JH because they both have access to racks and all that stuff. All right, so let's talk a little bit about how Grandstream is doing some really freaking exciting things for me. And I know this means that the training is going to get updated. So I'm expecting a trainer update to come through anytime. The latest firmware for the 6300 series of UCMs are out. And you're not going to believe this. It's fantastic. So we get a lot of small hotels and motels that reach out to us and they want to deploy Grandstream, and we help them. We either help them remotely or we work with somebody in the area that can be boots on the ground. Check this out. Check out these new features in the latest firmware. On-site meeting rooms, call prompt. We're going to look over these, but the one that I'm really excited about is the local property management. So you can already integrate the UCMs into the most popular property management systems, right? So what does it allow you to do? So, wake up calls. It allows you to integrate to do billing. It allows the maid to go up, use the phone to mark the room as cleaned. It can do mini bar billing, all kinds of stuff, right? Let's just hop on down and take a look at these. So now you can do scheduled on-site meetings. For workplaces that require employees to return to physical offices for work, Grandstream UCM offers the on-site meetings feature. So now you can schedule this and you can do blended meeting scheduling with this. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate that. Doug says, great training with Willie. So the goal is to do 4 Grandstream certified UCM trainings in 2023. At least one of them will have to be in Peoria, but people have asked that we do like Atlanta, Chicago, or Dallas. So I'm looking at that. JH, I need you to remember that you said that and just remember that for just a little while. All right, so what else can we do? We're going to go down. They show you step by step right here in the firmware. So, yeah, and you can add all of the things, laser pointers, dry erase boards. So I think that is awesome. Call waiting prompt tone customization. This will affect the audio cue heard by callers when calling an extension that has call waiting enabled. So you can change if somebody's on the phone. So if I'm on the phone and I have call waiting enabled on my extension, I can change the audio that people hear, which is pretty cool. You have geolocation routing now for emergency calls. And if it's set to yet, the geolocation header will be added to the emergency calls SIP invite message. So, and the emergency location mapping, you can do a lot of stuff with this to pass off custom caller ID. And it makes making sure that Kerry's Law and Ray Baum's Act, making sure that you are getting that complete information. It just makes it super easy. Basic extension export. So now you can just do basic extensions, which is all extension settings except for specific time and follow me. So it includes extension, caller ID, privilege, SIP password, auth ID, voicemail password, sync contact, last name, first name, email address, user/wave password. That's important. Silence suppression is something that they needed. And you can also turn it on the trunks. New HTTPS commands for call, queue, and wave. So they are expanding the API. So I am assuming, I'm trying to get Tim to jump into the API. So they have released full documentation on their API. So if you're interested in being able to do those things, check that out. You can now sync the local chat data to the cloud instant messaging. So yes, I believe, and I have no further information on this than anyone else who can read this firmware, but they started the chat server, the instant messaging server. I would have to think that SMS is coming next. I would have to think that. I don't know anything else that you all know. Custom IVR key presses. Hold on just a second. Can I help you? I'm live streaming. Oh, I'll be up in just a minute. Guests are starting to arrive. But check this out. Custom IVR key press. Users can now create custom IVR key presses. So you no longer have to press 2. You can say press 200, press 100, press 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, and they have increased the amount of key presses that you can have. This is fantastic. This is fantastic. You can do up to 100 custom key press events. Each key combination can contain up to 8 characters, numbers, and star only. Supports time condition. Different custom keys can have the same destination and time condition. And note, IVR optional dial other extensions will be disabled if using the custom keys. You can now do video paging through the video cameras, video phones. And you can do custom. So if you've got a screen, you could do Santa Claus saying, hey, blah, 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 and you can display it. You don't even have to do live broadcast. Paging now has a play count. I'm going to have to mess with that, but here it is. Local property management system. So, and your room number, I haven't played with this yet, but your room number is going to probably correlate to the extension. This allows the UCM to act as a property management system. When using this, users can manually check guests in and out. So if you have a login for the UCM, you can check guests in and out. So I'm going to do a full video on this. It looks like we got money on there, category codes, all kinds of stuff. This is definitely new. And so then you can see you've got room management, wake up service, room status. I am super excited about this for some reason. And I can't even put my finger on what it is. But all right, let's see. You can record in stereo now, and you can select the channel. Caller ID pattern mode. So I'm going to have to play with a lot of these and kind of figure out exactly what they do. You've got endpoint access history, which is fantastic. So go check out, I mean, there's so many new features. Voicemail configuration, failover trunk toggles. All of this, we've got zero config firmware page. So now we can do local or SD card firmware for zero config. We can upload the firmware right through zero config. We've got a config template search. And if you haven't seen the new phones and everything, there's a ton of stuff out there. So let me go over to the comments real quick. Let's see. Toronto. I don't know. So Cody, I don't think I'm allowed to train in Canada. We'd have to find you a Canada training partner. And I actually know a Grandstream certified trainer in Canada. So if you're serious about that, let me know. But training's not cheap. Well, I say that, but it's 3 days. We charged, I think, $12.50, and we bought lunch for everybody and did the certification. We just had a damn good time. All right, so JH says training in the Silicon Valley area would probably sell out if you're looking for places. All right. Jimmer SD says, quick question. Setting up a VLAN on an Edge Router 4 currently have all traffic on ETH1. If I make ETH2 VLAN aware, no, you will not lose connection, but unless it's in a switch or a bridge, well, I need more information, actually. JH says, does Grandstream have an app for iPhone? So you can actually use their cloud relay service, so you don't have to open ports, JH. And it's really cheap, like $199 a year, $299 a year. So, Gibby says, Willie, with the Grandstream updates, do you still suggest for the Wave app to set up different extensions? I don't know what you mean, Gibby. You'll have to fire me off an email for that. So you could do, so they have OpenVPN, JH, on their routers. So if you don't want anything on site, what you could do is you could have a centralized OpenVPN server, like on a droplet or in a different data center, and the UCM and your phone, you could have OpenVPN on that back to the OpenVPN server and do it that way. Not JH. I know you and I are on the same page about this, but more people are actually coming back out of the cloud than are going in. There's studies that are showing that. The salesmen aren't going to tell you that, but that's what's happening right now. Merry Christmas, Jason. Willie gets new firmware for Christmas. Yeah, absolutely. I love WordPerfect. Gibby says, the one thing I love about Grandstream is that they have question marks that tell you exactly what features do. Absolutely. Their tooltips are the best. Have any of you Grandstream successfully connected to PBX? Yes, absolutely. You set it up just as an extension, Bob. There are templates for it. You can actually zero config them. All right, so everybody, I want to thank you for being here. I got to get going. Guests are arriving. I still have to take a shower and comb my beard, and I got to check on the old RecTech real quick. And it looks like we were able to get it hot enough, so I'm going to see if it'll stay at that 225. Have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, whatever it is you're celebrating. I think it's Hanukkah still, but be awesome, be good to each other, reach out if you need us, and as always, I'll see you in the next video.